Good afternoon. I hope everyone's doing well. I just wanted to pop in here and share a thought and share a video. It's been probably about a month or so since I've done an actual video, and I felt motivated today. I was excited. I had a couple of interesting phone calls the last couple of days, just coming off of Thanksgiving and all the things that I've been thankful for and grateful for, being able to spend time with the family, etc., and coming back into a couple of new situations with brand new clients that I mentioned a week ago. So one of the things that's I find is interesting, and one of the things that came up in a conversation just Monday was with one of my new guys, and he was asking me a question, and he said, "Hey, have you always been this confident? Have you always been this positive, this upbeat?" And the truth of the matter is, there's some of it that I've always had, but a bunch of it has come from building myself up from a confidence standpoint over time. It's the same thing we use with motivation. And he genuinely wanted to understand more about it. Because this is a guy who has been very successful on a financial level. 61 years old, he's able to retire a couple times over. In fact, he's thinking about moving out of the country and taking his family with him just because he wants them to be able to experience the world the way he has through work. He and I connected through a mutual friend of his that I worked with for 7 months at the beginning of the year. And he was just trying to kind of piecemeal a few things together, and it came out on one of the calls about self-esteem and where does self-esteem come from. Because when he went through, and I've talked about this in here before, when he went through the initial week's exercise that you take home, it was on figuring out like a life health scorecard and where he is. And it's all based on the 4 F's that I talk about in here: family, faith, fitness, and finances. And within that, we start talking about self-esteem, and we have a way to dwindle down 40 different options down to 10, and then eventually to the 3 that we work on in the first 12 weeks of the program. And for most people, that is what they need to get from point A to point B and to build up momentum, to build up some type of satisfaction with what it is they're doing, and to walk away from it feeling energized and feeling like, okay, I've got this, I can do this. And it allows them to take the next step in their life, whether that's with relationships, whether that's in their work, whether that's with their health, or just in their belief system. So that was basically what was the catalyst of the call, and what kind of came out of it was, it's like anything that you've done well to this point, you didn't just start off. You might have a natural inclination to do things well. Maybe you're a natural salesperson. But the way you build up motivation and the way you start to build yourself up is from experience and from trial and error and from messing up a couple of times. And then eventually you take that information and you know what it is exactly that the person on the other side of the call, or whenever you're meeting someone in person, what it is they need. You figure out how to take a pain point, and from there we figure out what a solution looks like, and you repeat, you rinse and you repeat, you rinse and you repeat. It's what people who do what I do, my type of work in the health coaching industry, it's the very same thing. There are 3 or 4 things that we know work without fail. It works better for people sometimes who are trying to lose weight, because again, I'm coming from health and fitness world, and there's a lot of that out there where people are struggling with weight gain and weight loss and all these other little intangibles that go along with that. As we get older, it starts to kind of roll itself over into health. So it's not just how I look physically, it's how I feel physically. And it's not just what people see on the outside whenever they see me in my clothes or they see me driving around in my car. It's what goes on when I go to a doctor's visit and what's discovered in some of those appointments. So the way you start to build yourself up in one area of your life is the way you build yourself up in other areas of your life that maybe you see need some attention. Maybe you see them as a weakness, if that's a word you would use, or just some area of concern that you just want to get better at. Is you just start. You figure out what are 1 or 2 things to help get you going, to help you build some motivation, to help you build some momentum, to where you start to get a physical result and you start to see something, let's say on the scale, where you step on and you get some type of feedback of what you're doing is working or it's not working. It doesn't have to be super complicated, even though we try to make things complicated. So what I'm doing in this video right now is I'm just trying to share with you, listen, everyone has something they're fantastic at. It's a natural gift. But you didn't just start there. You had to develop it over time. There had to be some motivational factor behind. Typically, it's not just money. It's not just to get a girlfriend or boyfriend. It's not just for finances. It's a variety of things. But as I've said in here before, and I've written in here before, if one area is messed up, one of the F's is not in balance, then at some point they all are out of balance. And that goes the same way. If one is doing super, super well compared to the others, it's typically that's happening because the other 3 or 4 things are lagging behind and maybe need some attention. So that's where the whole balance component comes in here. So I just wanted to leave you with that thought. Where does motivation come from? How do you build momentum? And it comes from just a series of positive experiences over time that most of us don't start off doing super well with. It takes time, it takes energy. It's a lesson, not a loss over time, especially if we really start to pay attention. So I just wanted to stop by. It's 1 week after Thanksgiving. It's hard to believe already a week's gone by. But I just wanted to do this video and wanted to share it with you. If there's an area in your life that you feel could be improved and you're just not really sure what to do, what is the harm that comes in hopping on a complimentary phone call with somebody like me or someone else? If it's not me, go do it with someone else. Because we go through our lives, and I see this time in and time out, without a sense of urgency. Now keep in mind, everything is not always supposed to have to run at critical mass, but at some point, we have to do things before the time is perfect, right? That's probably the most common thing I hear. I don't have enough time, it's too expensive, whatever the case is. The reality for most people is something is too expensive whenever they don't really believe on the inside that it's something they're going to be successful with. It's the same thing with time. It's like, if I already think that my genetics are what my genetics are, why would I spend time working on this, trying to build myself up? If based off of what I've done in the past history, it shows and it proves otherwise. So what somebody like me does is I come in and I help to reset the belief system. I help to slow the Ferris wheel down to where you can get off of where you are right now and hop onto something that makes more sense. Because I said this a year ago, actually, if you go back through the thread of all the stuff we've done over the last 12 months, in 12 months, we're all going to be somewhere. And guess what? We're here now. Hopefully, all of you are still here. I haven't heard anything otherwise. But we're all 1 year later down the road, just like we kind of hoped and knew we would be. So where are you in year to date, from a year ago today? Where are you in reference to meeting your goals? Where are you with your health? Where are you with your relationships? What needs to be improved? Do you have the job you absolutely are thankful for and grateful for every day? Not because it just provides you a paycheck, but because it enriches you, it fills you up. It's the same thing with the relationships and the family and your fitness. So how does all this come together? What's not working as well right now as it could? And what are you willing to do to take the next step to actually figure out what a path looks like? There are a few of you that I've gotten on phone calls in the last couple of weeks, and you can hop in here at any point and you can actually validate everything I'm saying. Just because you hop on a call doesn't mean that we're going to be a great fit. Oftentimes what happens is people walk away from the call feeling good enough that they really don't need what it is I do. But for those of you that need to take it a step further, that always becomes an option. But there are a couple of you specifically that I talked to last week that aren't coming on board as clients because you walked away from the phone call realizing that you were in a much better space than you realized going in. And so that's a big part of what discovery is. It's not always going to come from some of the work that we might do together. Some of it you already know. It's my responsibility. It's my job. It's what I do. It's my gift, if we want to call it that, to extract that information and give it to you like you were looking in a mirror for the first time with a fresh set of eyes. So I hope you guys are doing well. I appreciate you being here. Be on the lookout. I've got a bunch of new things coming up in the next couple of weeks, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Be well.